is a former inmate, um, and he was in a provincial institution. He was in the South Detention Center during the pandemic. Um, Sorry, I don't know your name on here, so if you don't mind, just um, well, we see we wouldn't be able to.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, how you
Good
doing?
night.
Good
I'm
night. Good
fine.
night. Thank you for joining us today.
No problem.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with you. I'm not gonna ask you your name or anything, but if you could talk about what what did incarceration in the pandemic look like in the South?
Can you repeat yourself? It's like when you was speaking.
What did incarceration in the pandemic look like in the South detention? So what did it look like?
Um, it's not the best thing to describe to anyone. I won't wish prison at anyone, to be honest. Being in there during the pandemic, it was hell, to be honest. You don't really have access to anything. Like, we get shower every 2 days, you can say. And sometimes when we do get out of our cell, we get out of our cell for like 20 minutes if we're lucky. Sometimes we're supposed to get half hour, but sometimes we get 20 minutes if we're lucky. And yeah, there's like the COs, if you want, like they don't really care about how we live in there. Like, they don't really give a heck. They don't really care what happened to us or anything. Like, all they care about, they come there, and sometimes they don't even show. But if they do show, they come there and just be miserable and angry all day and just give us help for no reason.
Um, okay, so I'm gonna ask you some questions, okay, and then you can just
Yeah.
answer based on what we spoke about over the yesterday.
Yeah.
Um, what the lawyer said a minute ago, Jeff, he was saying that punishment, he doesn't know about punishment for the young people who are involved in his case. Can you tell us about what happens when you complain in the South? What does punishment look like for you guys?
Um, when an inmate complain about anything that he feel like his rights is being violated or anything that's wrong with him, and he complain, the punishment that we get is like we either put to segregation, or we either get a gonna misconduct, so we gotta go. They put us in our cell for a week or two, let us out every day or every other day for a shower and a phone call, and and like they just take away everything from us. Like, we don't really get to do access to anything. For instance, if my my baby mom was present, she could have spoken it herself too, because she was there. Sometimes it took weeks at time before I could even get chance to get up myself to even call her and tell her I'm okay.
Um, okay, so thinking about, you know, people that you know that have complained, um, and they were put in segregation, how long were they kept in segregation? What did that look like? So I know that if you want to talk about a situation that someone underage complained about and then what took place.
Um, so me myself, I was incarcerated in there. I was in on the premises for the past 32 months. Me myself, I experienced a lot of like stuff like that too. But when other inmates like say anything or call, like, kind of like when they go into segregation, they spend like at least say 10 to 15 days in segregation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And and
But
what was the complaining over? So complaining would be like, yo, can you guys pull
um
up your mask or what?
okay, complaining would be like, okay, so for instance, they do cell inspection every morning. During the pandemic, they're not supposed to do the cell inspection, but they do it safely because they're looking for whatever they say they're looking for. But when they do come in the cell, they do away the mask, they do away the gloves. Me and a couple of my cellmates, we stand after them, we argue with them, and when we do that, we get the shit and mistake, they punish us, they lock us in ourselves for like the rest of the day. We don't get to shower, we don't get to call. If we do like snap and start cussing at them, they take us off the range and they put us in segregation, or they have this place called DMU or SHU. So they put us down there, and which is also pretty much the same like segregation, because we stay locked down for like 21 hours a day.
So I just wanted people to understand that this isn't a time of pandemic where guards are coming in and they're not wearing their proper masks, right? And if an inmate complains about their mask not being fully on their face and they're in their face, or if an inmate complains about the guards not changing their gloves when they strip search and or body search and cell search different cells, and then touching the food or touching something. And if an inmate says, yo, what are you doing? Change pull up your mask or whatever, you know what I'm saying? They get punished for that. And they will get digged down. And just like he said, cell inspections are not supposed to be done. There's no movement. Inmates are not going to court. So there's no movement. Nothing can't come in if it from an inmate. So they're not supposed to be.
Sorry, we also like when they do all of that, we also tell them like, like we're not trying to get sick. Like we're inside here. Is also we're not even supposed to be a full unit during the pandemic. They still have 40 inmates under a unit. And when they see them coming, like we're telling them don't do something, like don't go in our cell, don't touch our cell. They're telling us we cannot stop them from doing it because they get in their orders from higher up. So apparently they're saying that their boss is telling them, no matter if we stand up with them, still pretty much do what they have to do the job pretty much. So they pretty much tell us we cannot tell them what to do, even though we're looking out for our own rights by telling them pretty much just wear a mask or wear gloves when you come in the cell.
So question, did you guys have masks in the South?
No, we don't have masks. When everything just start getting bad, then they bring masks to the inmates and say, only give us masks when we had going for like, this is when they had the one visit running, when we're going for a visit or a professional visit with a lawyer, or you go into video court, or you go into like, to see like, they have some of the chopping like volunteer to come and see certain inmates one-on-one. So that's the only how they give you a mask. Other than that, they don't give you masks. They don't inmate no masks.
So before you guys got the mask, if you tried to make a mask, right? What would happen?
They take everything from you and they punish you, and they tell you they're gonna charge you for disturbing jail property.
I'm gonna ask you a few questions. So your windows, tell me about your windows. Can you see outside? Are you able to get fresh air or even look outside?
No, the windows are sealed shut. You cannot see nothing through the windows, and fresh air, when it comes to fresh air, I won't really call it much fresh air because it's just a little like, I won't say 40 foot. That's kind of big, but like, I would say a little 40-foot box. Like that's where you go outside for the yard, and there's not much air you get there either way.
So when you say the windows are shut, like there's something covering them or what? You guys?
It's just a too big glass, and it's like super thick, so like you cannot see nothing through it. Everything is like blurry when you look through it. You cannot see nothing through it. That's how thick it is.
Okay. Do you guys have cleaning supplies in your cells?
It's a hell to get cleaning supplies from the COs. So if you don't have money to buy anything like hygiene stuff, body wash and stuff like that, you pretty much shit on the lot. Like some of this, as what I've said, the COs don't really they don't really care like if you get anything or if you stay healthy or if you stay clean. They really care. Some, which is 1-2 female COs, they will come and see us like shaking it and stuff like that, and they will go out of the way and get it for us. But the rest of them, most of them will be like, yo, no.
What about a laundry? Laundry.
Same thing as the supply, as the cleaning supplies. It's a hell to get laundry. So especially with the pandemic going on, if you don't have two t-shirts to wash one when you take a shower and to put on one when you're done, you got pretty much stay in one t-shirt until they decided that they want to give you laundry.
How many times are you guys locked down? So when we say excessive lockdowns, what does that look like for you? How many times how often are you locked down? Sorry.
With the pandemic or before the pandemic?
Let's talk about with the pandemic.
With the pandemic, it's everyday lockdown. You really get out of yourself for. Okay, I'm gonna speak from the last month I was in there, which when the big outbreak happened. We were locked down from the 4th of December to the 20th, and we only get out for 20 minutes a day for a shower. And that's not every day, that's every 2 days, every 2-3 days, we get out for a shower for 20 minutes.
Can you tell me about people that ranges that were on droplet or ranges where they found COVID? How long were the people on that range before they were found with COVID? Were they new to the range or were they there for months?
No, they were there for months because that's speaking, and also that's what happened on the range I was on. That's why the outbreak just happened in December. That happened on the range I was on, which is C2C, with that's Charlie 2 Charlie. The inmate that happened to be sick, he was there for the past 5 months, and then he found out he got sick.
And how do you guys think he got it?
Staff, myself, I speak with other staff, and other staff told me myself that COs are the one that's bringing the virus into the institution, because inmate itself is not. We've been in there for inmate that's been in there for so long, we cannot contract the virus ourselves. We have to get it from people who is in and out of the jail, which is only COs. Inmates that come into the jail, that news to the jail, those inmates, they say that they quarantine those inmates for 20 days. So if they quarantine those inmates for 20 days, it's kind of highly impossible that those inmates can bring the virus to a new range. So I'm gonna say it's staff that spread the virus, the last outbreak that happened in the jail. And
on your range, sorry, I know I'm asking you a lot of questions because I want to understand. Okay. On your range, if somebody is found negative and their cellmate is found positive, are they separated or do they have to be in the same cell?
Okay. When the outbreak happened in my range, I think there was 25 inmates, and my unit got tested positive. 25 or more inmates got tested positive. My test came back negative. My cellmate, his test came back positive. It took us 2 days to argue with them in order for them to split the range up, to take the people who was positive off the range and leave who's negative on the range. It took us 2 days in order for them to do that, because apparently public health came intervene and say that they're gonna come inside the jail and inspect the whole jail and to see how they're dealing with everything, and to see the range that currently that's on job list. They're gonna see if they have 2 inmates per cell. So they rush and split us up because that was the case. Public health was coming in, so they didn't want public health to see they have 2 inmates per cell. So they did that.
And I want to add something for the people that are listening, that I speak with inmates from provincial to federal in many different jails, in many different prisons, and many different ranges. And I can say the story stays the same for every single different range and jail. And even federally, when inmates were sent from the South to Joyceville, and multiple inmates said it was a bad bus that was sent out from Joyceville to Collins Bay, Workworth, and Beaver Creek. And inmates that were found to be positive were still left in the same unit as the inmates that were negative, who were there before. And that stems right back to the South. So
yes, and because also and that same unit I was on, there was so many that also one of the CEO that came up to us and that I speak to myself. He was telling me and my cousin, because my cousin is he caught the coronavirus when he went to that unit also. He was in that building, he was in the building for the past 2 years. And the moment he went to that unit, he got the virus. And then the CEO told him to pretty much his CEO gave him a number, actually wrote down a number with pen and gave it to him and tell him to contact the city TV and to tell them everything that's going on. And I didn't hear what they said, but he told me that the CEO told him that this one of the sergeant that told him that there was at that point of time there was 123 cases of in the jail, in the institution, when they were only saying there was only, I think it was just trying to say like it was 50 or something like that.
Okay. All right. And can you tell, before you close, can you just tell us real quick? Yesterday we were talking and we're talking about, you were saying that there are some guards that, you know, they're cool, but then there's a lot of guards that are messed up. And there was a female guard that would say, yo, hit me, because I want to go home anyways. Can you just explain the interaction between guards and inmates?
Yes. So when it comes to guards and inmates, some COs they think that they're more than, they're better than you, or they're better than inmates personally, because when a ranger in the uniform, they think that we're nothing compared to them. So they try to deal with us and talk to us like we're trash. But when they really see, like when we stand up and they say like we're not gonna let somebody, not because you're a CO, we're gonna let you walk over us. They're like, oh, they egg us on to pretty much hit them. There's one female, she's not an officer of the institution anymore, so I'm just gonna say her name. She's a police officer now. Her name is Miss Malloy. She herself told me myself that she want me to hit her so that she can get sick leave and go home, and so she can get sick leave and go home with pay. They all egg us on to hit them. They all want us to hit them so they can go home and with pay, so they can just sit down home and pretty much get free money, I guess.
Well, my brother, I want to thank you so much for keeping it 100.
No problem.
And I really feel like people need to understand and hear what's really taking place. So thank you so much.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna close it and say whatever the jail is saying and the media, to let the media think that the cheating inmates good, they're not. It's hell for inmates in there. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Let's go to some questions. Message board. Is there any questions for this brother? I can, yeah.
You see some comments here, not questions. There's a comment here. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedom states that everyone, including prisoners, has the rights not to be subjected to any cruel and unusual treatment or punishment. Another comment, I've seen guards keep 6 for each other from their superiors in cat and mouse game of following the wearing the mask guidelines. So just mostly comments, not really questions. Somebody asked what institution that the former inmate was just discussing. I'm not sure if they missed it.
The South Detention Center.
And then one more comment, the jail should be held accountable for the continuous use of transfers amongst jails to control COVID outbreaks. It's been spread around with intention with those transfers. So no questions really, most of them are comments.
I see here, the system of complaints and the process for grievances is a joke. It's just there to give the illusion of a fair process to express your concerns, 100%. Someone else said, I heard last night that CSC is fining inmates $25 if they're not social distancing. What?
Yes, and I think the inmate confirmed that was true somewhere there. A little.
Some COs care and more can care less. Yes, and that's what I hear all the time. I know in life there's good and bad in everything. So I'm not going to say every one of them is bad, right? There's good and bad in everybody, every race, everything. Wheat and tear shall go together. And that's why I always say that people need to do the right thing, because change can't come unless it comes from within. So within whatever it is you're in, you need to speak up. that's why I really appreciate the guards that the former guards that came on our show and spoke up and told us the racism that is behind the scenes, right? So yes. Yes, $25 is what they're taking. Wow. All right. Okay.